That's how you do it. The quickest way to make the most reliable splice is a gift from us to you. Why? Because people keep calling us and asking, people with the failure booms, people with the failing code zero, people with the failing in-mast mainsail that has a spliced loop in the system. The products we need. We need a rope, we need a marker, splicing needle, scissors, a puncher, stitching line, hand stitching line with the needles of course, and iso tape. First, we choose the overlap we want. So here for example, I'm going to make a splice loop that match code zero. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of load. So I'm going to dictate 1.5 centimeter. So I'm going to mark 1.5 centimeter. Yeah, and from that point, I'm going to use the length of the splicing needle. I'm going to mark 1 and 2. So we have 3 marks. 1 mark is overlap and another 2 marks, and I'm doing the exact same thing on the other side. I'm using the puncher, and what I'm going to do, I'm choosing the second mark to fish the core outside of the cover. And I'm doing the exact same thing on the second side of the line. First mark on the second mark. It's important to use the right type of ropes. There are ropes that their covers are more flexible and more matched for splicing. So be aware of what you're choosing. And a very important tip is always use a new line. The old line is a very not flexible cover. It's full of dust and full of salt, and it's almost impossible to splice through. Once we are getting to this position, we are taking only the covers and we are splicing it into the first mark. This cover will go into this first mark, and then this cover will go into this first mark. Let's start. I'm gonna put the needle through in the first mark, and what I want to do is I want putting the splice in a way that the smooth will be under the white. Because if I would put the needle through like that, this will hook the core and then the whole splice will go back. You want to make sure the smooth side goes under the core. This way. If you'll do it wrong, you know you've done it wrong. Needle goes in, ISO go out, 1.5 centimeter overlap, and the needle goes out. I see I didn't hook any of the white core by accident, so I know I'm free to go. Pushing, milking, very, very simple, you see. If you do it right, you have no resistance. It's very, very smooth and very, very easy. The core goes out. And what you're doing now, you have 2 of the cores from both of the sides. So what you want to do is you want to pull both of them until both of the cores are really spliced as one line, and then you milk the way out. And what I want to do now, once I have this nice splice here, I want to stitch it a little bit so none of them can escape. They can stay tucked with a nice shape. So I'm going to take the needle. I'm going to take myself a nice portion of a stitching line. We use one, personally I like the one with the wax on. I'm using a double stitch, which means that I'm putting it through the needle. What I'm having now is a very, very strong stitch. Those won't go apart, but you can't see anything. It's an invisible stitch, so it's pretty cool. Basically, we need to cut everything, but let's start with the cover. What I'm gonna do, first I'm gonna milk this cover in. When you pull it, it's getting squeezed in, but you see it's not all the way through. And what you want a smooth surface like it was the same line. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a little bit out. I'm gonna take a little bit of the cover back outside. And what I'm doing is I'm taking this much out, which is like 6 millimeters, and I'm gonna taper a little bit. Taper means you're taking some fibers out to change the width, and now I'm gonna make it back in. I wanna take 1 centimeter out. And what I have remained, I'm gonna taper it. So I'm gonna cut just some of the fibers, not of it. You see, I made it narrower, and now it's gonna blend inside the rope very, very nicely. And if I have some of those leftovers, because this line is very short, we're gonna do the same thing with the cores. So we're milking the cores from the other direction. We're milking them from here. So what I'm doing is I'm milking this core, and I'm using the exact same technique. I want to cut it so it will be about 4 millimeters, 5 millimeters out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking a little bit out, cutting it from where I marked, taper the first centimeter or two so it will be narrower, and I'm milking it back in. Let's do the same thing on the other side. And you can burn the edges of those stitching lines. And that's it. I mean, if you have a look, then you're having a completely smooth surface. It's almost invisible splice. And that's how you do it.